So, getting ready to record. My hair's looking pretty good. It's pretty decent. And I'm wearing my, my Lunia gear today. So, yeah, nice and cozy with my athleisure. Let's get started. Hey sis, Yvette Sojourner here, or also Dr. Patricia White Jones. Yes, I have a doctorate, but I'm not a medical doctor. In our last video, I had mentioned at the end that I would discuss my Botox treatment and how I ended up getting Botox. And here we are. Okay, it's a funny story, at least to me it is. I woke up one day and I actually noticed I started to look just like my father. No offense to him, I love him to death. But let me tell you, honey, not a good look on me. So I decided that I needed to do something about it. I ended up doing a ton of research. If you don't know anything else about me, no, I do a lot of research on various things that I love and adore. And so I did a ton of research and I started to do all the things. I was using hyaluronic acid. I was using salicylic acid. I was using the jade roller, which really did not work as well for me as other people have claimed for fine lines and wrinkles. It just didn't. And also other topicals. So I was using different masks and peels, and I was not really noticing any difference. Nothing was penetrating those forehead wrinkles, like nothing. And I'm going to insert a picture so you can see. Those things were atrocious. As I digress, so I came across two dermatologists on YouTube. Dr. Lee. I love these two gentlemen. They are fabulous. And they mentioned and talked about forehead wrinkles. And I was so heartbroken when they were like, you know what? Topicals aren't going to do it. Like hyaluronic acid will, add a layer. So it's kind of like, I hate to say it this way, but it's like an optical illusion. It will fill in some of the wrinkles, but it's not a lasting thing. And also, it doesn't fill it in the sense of you're not going to see them. It depends on how deep the wrinkles are. And my forehead wrinkles were very, very deep. So I went ahead and I reached out to my dermatologist and I asked her for guidance. Now, keep in mind, I already had her, if you saw my last video about acne, I had already had a dermatologist lined up. So I went ahead and sent her a message regarding the forehead wrinkles. And let me tell you, it was hard. I don't know why it's so hard to reach out to medical professionals, but it was hard. And I sent her the email and she responded very quickly. And she just was like, okay, are you doing these things? And she mentioned all the topicals I was using, hyaluronic acid and so on and so forth. And she was like, outside of these things, there's really nothing more you can do unless you do Botox. And so I was just kind of waiting for her to say it. But when she mentioned it, I immediately responded and was like, yes. Do you have any suggestions, recommendations, guidance of any type? And she did. She reached back out to me and had a list of clinicians that I could visit that were local. And I did my own research apart from her list. And yeah, the clinicians that she had given me were just stellar. And so I went ahead and did a little more research in trying to narrow down the list and figure out which one I was willing to go to. And ultimately, it ended up working out very well because there was a clinic that was just very, very close to where I live. And the doctor there is amazing. And so I went ahead and scheduled a consultation. And before that, though, I did reach back out to my dermatologist and I asked her what I should expect. I know I did research on my own. It's like, yeah, it takes this long for things to happen and so on and so forth. But I wanted to know if there was anything else like I should be looking out for. I should, if I was just concerned. And she just reiterated what I had already discovered. Be patient. It takes time. And if you don't like it, then don't go back because everything will revert back to its original state. And so I went for the consultation, and let me tell you, that meeting was so amazing that I went ahead and I got the treatment that day. I mean, I wasn't anticipating or expecting it. I thought I would leave and be like, well, I'm not sure. But honey, that day I walked out of there and I was like, let's see how this works out and if it works. And sure enough, within a week, I still had some, I could still see the wrinkles. Within 2 weeks, one side was the treatment had fully worked, whereas on the other side, on my right side, it was I was lopsided. That's what they basically call it. I was lopsided. So I went back and let them know, and they were so great. Like, she was so amazing. She basically was like, this happens, come back again after this and we'll see. So the first time I went in, I waited 2 weeks. Then I noticed I was lopsided, reached out, went back in. She did another follow-up, and then it was I waited at least another 1 to 2 weeks. Then I went back again. I don't know what it is on my right side, but it was not working out as well as I thought it would. In the end, I realized that because she was just getting used to me as well as me to her, it made sense because she had to acclimate the dosage. And you have to first start out at a certain level, then you work your way up. Now, let me say, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it is not cheap to get Botox. I will admit to that. I know they do have different sales and things like that. And if you're a new client, they have different promotions as well. But ultimately, I just go in at my regular. I go in for my treatments every 4 months, I think it is. And because I schedule so far in advance, I get a discount for that as well. So, I don't have any issues with my treatments. I haven't noticed anything major, except for I always wait to see if it's taken and if it's where I want it to be or not before I make another appointment. A follow-up appointment for if I'm lopsided or anything of that sort. But outside of that, let me think if there was something else. I don't believe so. I talked about the cells. If you have an issue, let them know. If you go in and you have a treatment and it doesn't look the way you expected it to, or something's not right, you should definitely go back and mention it, because a good clinic, they should be understanding, and they should accommodate you because you are paying for it. And that's something that I keep in mind. And now that I mention it, let me say this. At first, before I even really started to consider Botox, I started to utilize, like I said, all these different topicals. Well, that adds up. And so, especially if you go from, okay, I'm going to go from drugstore level to more expensive products, it's going to cost money. And so it got to a point where I was like, okay, am I going to continue paying for this high-end topical, or am I just going to get Botox? Not saying you shouldn't do both. Don't get me wrong. Definitely, if you can afford it, do both. But for me, a treatment of Botox equated to a bottle of, I can't even tell you a specific name of a higher end face product. So for me, it made sense to just go ahead and invest in that way. Now, I still use my topicals. I still use my retinols. I still use my hyaluronic acid. I still use my salicylic acid. I still use, some mask, more so for hydrating and moisture. But yeah, I'm not spending a ton as far as $300-400 a bottle. That doesn't really interest me. Especially because now, let me show you my forehead wrinkles, and I will make sure I insert the before picture so you can see is nice. So I don't really focus on it. I don't have to focus on it as much as I used to. And like I said at the beginning, I keep thinking about that first sentence, like, I started looking like my dad. I mean, I love my dad. I love him to death. But it was not a good look on me. It's just not a good look on me. So yeah, that's how I ended up going ahead and getting Botox. And I don't regret it. I mean, I'm not getting any younger, and I don't want to. That's really not why I got Botox. The reason more so for me for these types of treatment, as you can see, it's not about being young. It's about me having more confidence and actually taking a more, I don't want to use the word natural because some people will say, well, Botox is a natural. But as you can tell by my appearance, I would hope you could tell, I don't get anything else. I haven't gotten anything else done. So Botox is the only thing I do. And if that's more than enough for me at the end of the day. And so we'll see what the future holds. But for now, they say black don't crack. But honey, let me tell you, it does something. It slips, it sags, it falls, it folds. I don't know, but it does something. So I'm gonna insert that picture so you can see. But it's a world of a difference. And now when I look in the mirror, especially when I wear my hair back, oh my God, I am so happy because no, I just wasn't having it. I wasn't gonna be looking like that every day. I just couldn't. And like I had said prior, I had mentioned, maybe it's because we were in the midst of the pandemic and looking in the mirror more frequently. I don't even remember if I mentioned it or not, but I really do feel that had a tremendous impact on what we notice when now in comparison to in the past. In the past, you're running out the door, so you don't have enough time to even notice these things. Whereas, you know, during a pandemic, you're in the mirror, or you're looking at yourself mirrored on Zoom calls, on teleconferences. And so, you know, these things are more notable, but I am particular about these things, and I would have noticed it regardless, because when I start looking like my daddy, I'm like, boo, come on now. That man handsome. It looks good on him. But I don't need to be looking like him like that. So, enough said. Until next time, friends. Hope to see you soon. Also, take what you need, leave what you don't. I'm just going to leave this right here. Bye, sis.